So tattooing for us it's just another form of art. It's like anything else, it's just permanent. Instead of drawing on a piece of paper that could go away or get thrown away or get destroyed, you're tattooing a person, and that art gets to live forever. So sometimes, especially in a small town like this, you get to see people out in town you've tattooed. That's just incredible and a lot of pressure.
Tattooing as an art form, I mean, really it's more of a personal expression for your client. Body modification in some sense. You know, my degree is in painting. Expressing on canvas is kind of how I started, and then learning to express on skin. You know, one day you're doing a realism piece, and the next day you're doing an illustrative piece. Some days black and gray, some days color. So every day it's kind of a different artistic challenge. Tattooing as an expression, it almost seems like it changes every day.
The first thing we do when people walk in is create a nice environment. We coin ourselves as the friendliest shop in town, and part of that is being welcoming and kind of easing people's minds from the minute they walk in and during their consultation process, but also during their tattoo. You kind of get to know people, and some people fall asleep, some people are vibrating in pain from the first 5 minutes. And you know, just getting to know people and figuring out what makes them comfortable, if they need more breaks, all those things just come with time and experience.
My first tattoos are awful. I've literally contacted multiple people that I tattooed 10 years ago, and I'm like, please let me either fix that or let me give you something good. And most of them say no because they had one of my first and early tattoos, and it's kind of like, you know, for them it's kind of a pride thing because they see where I was and they see where I'm at now. And you know, for them it's kind of cool when they're like, yeah, this was his first tattoo and it looks like garbage. But you know, it's just part of the learning process. Nobody is good at this right out of the gate, because skin is a completely different medium. You can draw on paper all day and be amazing, but to be able to translate that drawing on paper into skin, it just takes a lot of practice.
It's a skill, and any skill, you know, people don't learn to be an astronaut when they're born. They learn to be an astronaut. And the process of becoming a tattoo artist can be longer for some people if they're not that skilled at it. But with practice, anything is possible. It helps if you can draw well. It helps if you have a good imagination and can come up with things, because somebody might walk in the door right now and say, I want this. And you know, you have to do it. You can't just say, no, we can't do that here. We don't draw dogs. Some people are very descriptive. Some people are, you know, down to the tone of blue they want. Some people just say, I want a flower, I don't care what it is. So it just goes back to that consultation, that first interaction of figuring out what kind of client they are and trying to work towards, you know, making them happy at the end result.
So tools of the trade. Used to, when we used old machines and coil machines, we had to pick maybe 2 or 3 different needle groupings. I say groupings because needles come, if we're using a liner, it's as few as 3 needles up to like 14 that create like a point, and that's what makes the line work. There's needles called mags, so it's basically 2 rows of needles that live in that. That's basically our paintbrush. So that's what the color gets packed in. That's what the shading gets done with. So depending upon, like, you know, what part of the tattoo we're working on, it just depends on the needle. Now with being able to use disposable cartridges, we can pull out 6, 8, 10 different needles, which makes our job super easy because each one has a different function. You know, liner needles kind of make all the lines for the coloring book, and then the mags, we color the coloring book. That's kind of the what you learn over time is this needle is great for this needle's great for that. This needle for this tattoo might have been great for something, but I'm gonna try something a little bit different that works a little bit better. So it's kind of trial and error for a while as you're progressing through your career, but yeah, each one has a specific function.
Any industry, whether it's cars, for example. I mean, times change, people think of better ideas, technology gets smaller and more precise, and that's just something we take advantage of. There's plenty of people still using old tattoo machines. They still work just as fine. But me personally, I love technology, so I'm always gonna buy the next newest thing.
The artwork in here, if you look around, you see that there's old tattoo artists. For example, there's Sailor Jerry there, there's Lyle Tuttle there, Sailor Jerry again. That's just part of me wanting to show respect and pay homage to the creators of American tattooing. I think it's really important to know where things started and where we came from. And I think it's really important to keep that tradition alive because it's easy to get forgotten. But I also know that, we have new forms of artwork, anime. People love Star Wars. I love Star Wars. That's kind of the reason why it's all over the shop. So I think it's great to integrate, new things with the old, and for, people to see the Sailor Jerry flash on the wall. We have one traditional artist that does that style. The rest of us I have two anime artists. Chris and I do realism. Ari does black and gray illustrative stuff. So we kind of go all across the board. So I feel like we need to kind of incorporate that all around the shop. So plus the more art you have, the more visually interesting it is. So while you're sitting there getting tattooed, you have something to look at. Most important things that I try to work with my apprentices and help them learn. First off, being a tattoo artist is the coolest job on the planet, right? We just listen to good music and create cool art and hang out with cool people all day long, right? And we get paid for it. What's better than that? But beyond that, people come to us for reasons, right? Either they're going through a life change, they're unhappy with part of their body, they're celebrating something amazing. There's many, many reasons, but they're choosing us to put something permanent onto their body. So, it's really important for us, whether or not it's an infinity symbol off Pinterest or whatever, it's super important to our client. So for us as tattoo artists, we have to really pay attention to that because, we're now a part of that person's story for the rest of their life. There's been many times throughout my career where, I'm tattooing somebody and they start sharing their story and opening up, and you realize you're literally changing how they perceive themselves in the mirror. They may be unhappy with their weight. They may have gone through a drastic weight loss and unhappy with the fact that they have excess skin. There's a million reasons why people might not feel 100% comfortable in the skin that they're in. And it's our job to help them feel beautiful.